Tara. Welcome back to my channel. So, I am going to do another review because I finished this book, and I'm hoping to do my wrap-up and TBR. I'm going to do my TBR probably on the 1st, and I'm going to do my wrap-up. I'll try on the 1st, if not then on the 2nd. Because I also have work and stuff, and that's why I don't film as much on the week, because I don't know, last couple of weeks just I was like having things where I wasn't feeling well, and then I was just tired and stressed because there were some stressful days at work the last couple of weeks. So when I do film, I spend on the weekends, and the 1st is on Monday, so that is not the weekend. I wish. But so yeah, I will definitely try and do it on the 1st. I don't know, maybe I can film them tomorrow and upload them on not tomorrow, Sunday, but I'm not sure yet, because next 2 days we're going to spend a lot of time reading, because I want to finish this series by the end of the month. But like I said, last couple of weeks I wasn't feeling well, and then I was stressed, and then I was tired, and all I wanted to do was lie down and watch TV and do nothing. Like, I haven't even been working on my book that I write lately, which is not like me at all. I love to write, I love to read. It's what I love to do more than anything else. So whenever I choose not to do them, I mean, yeah, sometimes I choose to watch TV as well, because I do like to watch TV. But whenever I choose for a long period of time not to do something, then I'm just really tired or really exhausted or something of those sorts, because I love them so much. So when I'm just not doing them as often, it's because I've just been tired. But yeah. But I'm hoping this is a productive weekend, because I already kind of set a goal to finish this series by Sunday, and to get through at least chapter 10 of the book that I am writing. I think I set myself a little too high, because I just finished the book 2, and I just on Tiffany's channel, Beachbum Bookworm's channel, doing a live reading sprint just like a few minutes ago. And isn't this weird? Like, for some reason I didn't tap down here, and I don't know why. I guess it just wasn't a scene I wanted to tap down there. I don't know. It just looked weird. But I lost what I was saying now, because I don't know. But I finished that, and then I started it earlier today, and then I started this during the live reading sprints. I think I got a pretty good section done for the live reading sprints. We ended up talking a lot, and I don't think we did as much sprints as we usually do, but we just got so engulfed in conversation, and Tiffany and I met someone new who might be on my live reading sprints on Sunday. Tiffany will be there, definitely, Beachbum Bookworm, and then Masquerade Chick, who's also named Tiffany, should be there unless something comes up, because she was supposed to be there today if something came up, but that happens, and we've all been there. And then I lost my train of thought again. Oh yeah, Kristen, who is from Moonlit Books, right? Yeah. I just met, and I think Tiffany just met her too, and she was on there, and she may or may not. She says she has to see what she's doing on Sunday, but she doesn't think she has any plans, so she should so she might be there on Sunday as well. So yay, another person to join us in our fun, and hopefully I can get more reading done then. I'm hoping to, because I want to finish the series by the end of February, but February is a short month, so I have 2 days left, and so I have to finish this book, the 4th book, the 5th book, and the 6th book, because this is the 3rd book, and there's 6 books in all, and I told myself I was going to finish them this month. Yeah, I'm failing my first TBR. I mean, I have a TBR list. Everyone has a TBR list of books they want to read. But this is my first time, planning what I'm going to read that month. Be like, and this was my first TBR video, my first wrap-up, and I'm already failing it, so that's fun. But to be fair, I've had a stressful couple of weeks. And then the couple weeks before that, I was in a reading slump. My first ever one, and I hated it. So, yeah, this was a long introduction. So let's get into what this video is supposed to be about, which is the book review for The Magician, Book 2, and the Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. So, at the end of the first book, they go to Paris. So, this entire book is based in Paris until, this entire book is based in Paris. They leave Paris at the very end. And then at the beginning of book 3, they end up in London, which we'll get to when I do the review for that. I'm only on chapter 7, I think. Right? I'm on chapter 7. Chapter 7. And I have no idea how many chapters there are. There's 55 chapters in that book, so... Oh wow, there's a lot more chapters in this book. Oh wow. There's 70 chapters plus an epilogue. That's fun. But yeah. I'm trying to remember what the beginning of this book was about. Oh, you meet him. Okay. I always say his name right when I'm reading about him, but his name just slipped my mind. I think I'm saying it right, at least. I might be saying it wrong. Okay, it's on the back of this book. Good. Why am I having trouble saying his name now when the entire time reading the book I was saying it what I thought was correct, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to read it and I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, apparently. Machiavelli. That's how I'm pronouncing it. So I'm sorry if it's wrong. Michael Scott, because he wrote this. But Machiavelli, he is also aligned with Dark Elders, and him and Dee do not get along, but they do make an uneasy alliance where they have to do what the Dark Elders want. Because as you learn, I think in this book, or it might have been mentioned in the first book, I do not remember, but I know it's mentioned in one of these two books, that most people who become immortal do it because they end up giving themselves away to the Dark Elders. And basically, whichever Dark Elder gives you the immortality, you are indebted to them forever. And they become your master, and you have to do whatever they say, whenever they say it. And if you fail, if you ever deceive them or betray them, or if you basically just make them angry at all or fail them or something, just anything you do that makes them mad, they will take away your immortality and you will age extremely fast, and it gets worse the longer you have lived, and then you will die. And it sounds incredibly painful when it was mentioned in the third book. The beginning of the third book, it was actually kind of mentioned in more descriptive tone than it was in the first two. So yeah, that's fun. But while he was being introduced, someone else was introduced, Saint Germain. He is an old student of Nicholas's. I'll get my iPad right. Okay. He's an old student of Nicholas's, right? Okay. And I lost my train of thought again because I'm not smart. He's an old student of Nicholas's, but he also he learned to fire magic, which Nicholas never taught him. He learned that from somewhere else. And they're old friends, and they get along really well, so that's good. Sophie is still a bit off because she has her it's been 2-3 days, right? Where I'm at now, it's been 4 days, which they mentioned, but at the beginning of this book it was 2 or 3 days. I want to say 2 because I'm pretty sure this book they do go through a couple days in this book, because they do find a good hiding place from the Dark Elders and Dee and Machiavelli, so they end up sleeping for 24 hours. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but they do sleep for a long time, which is mentioned. But anyways, so it's been 2 or 3 days. And all that time she was thrown into this war, told about a prophecy that she's a part of, and her twin brother had to lie to her parents, had to let me think what else. She found out about magic, she found out about all these things, she got awakened, her magic awakened, and then she got all these awakened senses and could feel and touch and touch and feel the same thing. I don't know why I said that. She could feel, smell, hear, and see better now than most humans can. She has the ability to do things that she once called impossible, and then she was taught in air magic, and given the Witch of Endor's memories, all of them, all of her knowledge and everything, and taught air magic, and then ended up fighting the undead. And then she goes through a late game and in a matter of seconds ends up in Paris, France. And let's just say she's a little... so yeah, she's overwhelmed. That's the word I'm looking for. She's a bit overwhelmed right now. And Josh is a bit overwhelmed too, but not as much, because yeah, he just discovered magic and he's worrying about his sister and not trusting Nicholas or Paranel or Skethach, or any of them, and but he isn't having to go through the awakened process or the learning of the air magic or the I lost my train of thought again. Or the memories that the Witch of Endor gave her. So yeah. He did fight the undead though. Well, he helped. He was hypnotized for most of it, I think. Yeah. But then he ended up like running a car into D, and that made him like he couldn't control the dead anymore because he's a necromancer too. He's a magician and a necromancer and an alchemist, so he's dangerous. So yeah. But anyways, moving on. They also end up meeting Saint Germain's wife, who is also a really old friend of Scatty's, Joan of Arc. Yeah, she's introduced. And so Alcatraz is introduced as well, because that's where Paranel is being a prisoner at. And so there's a lot of storylines going on, because there's the whole... I guess there's kind of a lot of storylines going on. But it's mostly the four of them running from Dee and Machiavelli and the Dark Elders as they are trying to get Josh awakened, trying to hide away, trying to prepare, and trying to get Sophie to learn the other elements and to also control the ones that she does have. So yeah. And then there's the storyline of Paranel, who's captured. There's not as much to the Paranel storyline, so I'll tell you what happened with her first, and then I'll go backwards and tell you about them. Okay, so Paranel, I think I'm saying her name wrong, right? I have to be right. I have to be saying her name right? Right? I don't know. I'm calling her Paranel, or I'll just call her Perry, because that's what she was known to Sophie and Josh at the beginning, before they knew her real name. But anyways, Paranel does end up, she's being guarded by the Sphinx. I may or may not have mentioned that in the other review, because I don't remember that happened in the first or second book at this point. But she was able to escape her cell, but she was still on Alcatraz, and she ended up going to like the very bottom and saw like all these cells with monsters and creatures from myths and legends, and she as well as Nicholas knows that every myth and legend has a grain of truth to them, because legends and myths have to be created out of something. So there's truth to every myth and legend in the world, and most of these monsters and creatures, she's seen a lot of wonders, but most of these monsters and creatures she's only heard about and never actually met. Luckily, they were all sleeping and or unconscious. I think they were more unconscious. I don't think they were sleeping. I don't know, but and she ends up meeting, I'm going to call him the Old Spider, because that's what she calls him, because that's one of his names, because his actual name I cannot pronounce to save my life. And I dropped my book. Okay, let me see if I can find, I'm probably not going to be able to find, actually I might, because I think I tabbed one of the scenes with him, because I like the fight scene that was there. No, I might have gone too far. Yeah, I've gone too far. I swear I tabbed it purple. I don't think it was. Yeah, it wasn't that. I swear. Oh no, I think I tapped it green. Never mind. Because I don't think it was an actual battle, so I wouldn't have it purple. I just really like this scene, and I don't know why. Yeah, I found it. Okay, let's see. Here it is. Come in. I heard a knock. Am I going crazy? Hello? Did someone knock? Here's the fish. I've gone crazy. I'm hot with this cover on. I don't know why I even have it on. Okay. What was I saying? Okay. Areop-ENAP. That's his name. I can't pronounce it to save my life. Areop-ENAP. Whenever I was reading it, I was just like, Areop-ENAP. Because that's the best I can do. And I'm not going to keep up calling that. But Parnell, at several moments, calls him the Old Spider. Because it's also mentioned that is one of his old names that he went by. So I'm just going to call him Old Spider. He's one of the elders. And he was always in the favor. He was one of the good elders that was in favor of humans. And but Tim and Parnell have not gone along in the past. His children attacked her, so she threw a mountain on him, almost killing him. She thought that he was dead until that moment. And so he tried to kill her again, but she's Parnell and she's a survivor. She's not easy to kill, as is proven. But yeah. But the Morgan, which is also a Dark Elder, and the Sphinx were both at Alcatraz waiting for her to leave the basement area. And they were fighting at one point because they both were promised that they would get to feed off of Parnell because she's a prize. Her and Nicholas both are, but Parnell's more dangerous, which is mentioned a few times, even by Nicholas. Everyone just knows that she's more dangerous. She's a sorceress, which is the book I'm reading now, The Sorceress, so it's about her more. So she's gonna be on more, thankfully. She hasn't really had any scenes with these twins or Nicholas since the very beginning of the series because she was kidnapped at the very beginning. So she's been pretty much by herself except with enemies. I think she was with Dee. Yeah, she was with Dee for a little bit, and then she was with the Sphinx, and then she talks to ghosts. So she's had some scenes with ghosts. How she ended up finding that is that she was talking to the person who first discovered Alcatraz, and they were talking, and then he was protecting her from. He was able to free her from the Sphinx for a little bit, got her out of her cage, and he was helping her, and he's the reason why she was able to find the Old Spider in the first place. And I like Parnell. I cannot wait to. I really hope every time they mention these sorcerers, they're talking about Parnell. So this book has to be more about her, right? Maybe this is when she finally gets out of Alcatraz and meets up with Nicholas and the twins, and yeah. So I'm hoping. But she ends up. So they end up calling a truce to work together because he is not with the Dark Elders, and he doesn't want to see them brought back. So they work together, and then they even trap the Morgan. And she said that Parnell took away her, or I don't know if she ended up actually doing it, but I know that she threatened to do it. She was going to take away her flight and basically her magic, and then keep her prisoner in Alcatraz, which would be worse than killing her. So yeah, like I said, she's not to be messed with. Try to kill her and she will take a step forward. No, that's not the right phrase. She'll take, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, it's late, I'm tired, I've had a long week, I'm ready for the weekend. Anyways, moving on. So, and then that was kind of the end of the book when she did all that with the Morgan, the whole Parnell, the trapping Morgan and threatening her, and I think that was the end of that. Yeah, okay, that was the end of her storyline in this book. But with the others, you find out that Joan of Arc did not die that day. Obviously, she's alive. She became immortal because of Scatty. She had a lot of wounds and was very injured. So Scatty gave her some of her blood, but that she did not become a vampire through it. She just became immortal through it. So yeah, and they are really close. They journeyed together. They went on adventures together. They've been best friends forever. And yeah, so Scatty trusted her, and Sophie trusted Scatty, so she trusted Joan, and I think they got pretty close. And I don't know. I kind of like Sophie's relationship with both Scatty and I lost her name, Joan of Arc. I think that she would have a nice relationship with Pernell too, because we haven't really gotten much scenes with him, but I know at the beginning Sophie mentioned, liking Pernell and stuff, so yeah. And Pernell went to the coffee shop quite often, so they probably did get along a lot, before Sophie realized that everything she knew was a lie. But moving on. But throughout this book, Josh is jealous because Sophie is awakened. She has these magic, and he doesn't still. And part of it is because he wants to be awakened, but the other part is because he wants him and Sophie to be alike again, because they were always alike in everything. They were never one of those twins that shared thoughts. I mean, there's times that they would look at each other knowing what they were thinking, but those were kind of more of the obvious times. They didn't know deep thoughts of each other. But which is mentioned towards the end of this book, Sophie, they could always feel each other. Like if one was upset or angry or hurt or something, the other one could feel it. But anyways, so they end up going to the Saint Germain and Joan's house where they start. I don't know what I'm saying. Nicholas gives Josh a sword to protect himself, which is called Clarent, and it's the sword of fire, because there's one for each element, and it's the twin to Excalibur, which Dee has, which is the sword of ice, which I mentioned in the review for the first book, because he used Excalibur to kill Hecate in her shadow realm. So yeah, and Scatty, Joan, and Germain will not touch that sword, but Scatty and Joan did agree to teach him how to use it and wield it, while Germain would get Sophie the element of fire. So yeah, and so they did that, and then they get attacked because Dee and Machiavelli track down the Desir, which are 3 people, because all the others were killed by Scatty, and they realized that the only way to get to the twins and Flamel was to kill Scatty, because she is a fierce warrior, and as long as she was on their side, as long as she was alive and breathing, well, I don't think she technically can breathe because she's a vampire, but you know what I mean. So moving on, they know that getting rid of Scatty would ensure their capture of Nicholas and the twins. So I hear something. Okay, but so the Desir end up releasing Nidhogg, which is this old ancient creature that is not good on subtlety. Machiavelli didn't like that because that would cause chaos in Paris, which is his country, or state, or city, or whatever. Because France is the country, not Paris. I don't know. It's late. Don't judge. Anyways, but Dee was the never one for subtlety anyways. So yeah, that was fun. And I really enjoyed those scenes with Nidhogg ends up attacking them, and Scatty ends up it was after Scatty, and then Josh was helping Scatty, and the Desir attacked Nicholas was too weak because he's aging, and then Nicholas was in his soundproof basement with playing music, so he couldn't hear what the heck was going on. So Joan and Sophie worked together to defeat the Desir, and Sophie was able to defeat 2 of them by using both air and fire, and later on Joan mentions to Jermaine, because she was like, no one has ever been able to use 2 elements at the same time. She's truly incredible, or remarkable, something like that. And yeah. And Joan also has a silver aura, just like Sophie. She was actually the last one reported to have a silver aura until Sophie, because silver and gold are the 2 rarest auras. But having a pure aura at all is rare, because most people have at least 2 colors in their aura, like maybe blue with a purple outline, or red with a pinkish tint, something like that. But it's rare to have just one color, or have I don't think it's one color, but one pure color, I guess. I don't know. But the Nidhogg ended up running. Josh did wound it with Clarence, and then it ran off with Scatty, so he ended up chasing after it and into the streets. And then Sophie ends up packing, because her and Nicholas had to leave to find Josh and to get away from Dee again. But Joan ended up going with them. Saint Germain had to stay to deal with police matters, but he did end up joining up with him later on. But I lost the name. Josh ended up beating a Nidhogg pretty well, and then Dee and Machiavelli ends up getting him out of there, and telling him that Scatty got away, this and that, even though she didn't. And then, because he wasn't fighting Nidhogg anymore, he was fighting one of the last Desir that remained, who was helping the Nidhogg. But yeah, and then they end up driving away just as Sophie pulls up, and then she's all mixed emotions because she saw Josh leave with them, and she had no idea what the heck was going on, and with her brother. And then Nicholas was trying to use Clarence, because Josh dropped it, to defeat Nidhogg and the Desir. I think the Desir was still there at this point. So Joan ended up fighting the Desir, while Sophie ended up trying to help Nicholas, even though she couldn't keep her emotions straight with everything that was going on with Josh. But they won, obviously, and then they get out. They leave, and Sophie, since they're twins, were able to kind of trace his aura and follow them down the sewers, and because Dean Machiavelli told him that he could be awakened, and he ended up going with them, where they meet one of the oldest elders, and one of the oldest dark elders, and very powerful. So he ends up awakening Josh, and Sophie ends up getting there, and Nicholas as well, and then the Dark Elder ends up kind of getting attacked by both Dee and Nicholas. They kind of teamed up to attack him. Well, Nicholas was attacking him because he's a Dark Elder, but Dee ended up doing that because he was like, "You made an enemy of me today, so you will not live." This and that. So Dee attacked him to remain his own, to keep him alive, pretty much. So, yeah. That was near the end. They left the sewers, but Dee and Machiavelli were Dee was going to bring down the cat, one of Paris's big monuments. I don't remember what it's called now. It left my mind. Saint Germain had found them again at this point, but they ended up having gargoyles attack them, and then Saint Germain and Sophie were fighting them with magic. Josh came up with the idea of Saint Germain using fire as hot as he can, and having Sophie do as cold wind as she can, and basic chemistry to the combined forces or something. I don't know. I didn't take chemistry. But yeah, so they end up and then Saint Germain and Joan is too weak, and then Sophie was getting weak, so Josh still didn't, even though his senses were awakened, his powers were awakened now, he still hasn't gotten any of his powers, is still too new, and he hasn't been trained at all. At least Sophie's been trained a little, and she has 2 of the elements, which he hasn't done yet. So he ends up letting her use his energy to give her energy. So they end up working together, and they became extremely powerful and together. And everyone saw it. The villains, the good guys, they all saw what the 2 of them could do together. And then after that, they were like, there's no doubt in my mind now, these are the twins of legend. The 2 that are one, the one that is all. I think I got that wrong. But something like that's the prophecy about the twins. So, and then so they end up beating them and then leaving. And then Saint Germain gives them passports so they could leave Paris. And that's when they end up going to London. And yeah, so that's the end of this book. I enjoyed it. I forgot one crucial detail that I'm still upset about. So when they were fighting Nidhogg, after Josh left, when the others were fighting Nidhogg, they were able to free Scatty, and she was awake. But then Dagon, he was Machiavelli's loyal servant for 400 years, and then at the end he ended up freeing Dagon from his services because he knew that Dagon wanted revenge on Scatty, aka the Shadow, aka the Warrior, and she goes by other names, but those are the 2 that are mentioned the most. Because you find out that she had killed all of Dagon's other people, just like she killed all the other Dazir besides those 3. And so that's why everyone wants revenge on her. So Nicholas promised that Nidhogg fails, then he can have the Shadow. So he ends up coming out of the water, grabbing her and dragging him with her, and she never came back up. So now they're all like, is she dead? But at the same time, she's fierce and strong, and she has survived so much more than that, this and that. And I'm like, what the heck? Is she alive? Is she dead? I'm gonna cry if she's dead because I love her. I'm a huge fan of Scatty. I am. Honestly, I love the women in this series. I like the guys too, don't get me wrong. I like Nicholas. I like Josh. I like Saint Germain. I don't like Dee or Machiavelli because they're the villains. Actually, I prefer Machiavelli over Dee. But anyways, the women on here are powerful. They are strong. They are fierce. It's just awesome to watch. Like Scatty, no man can come up against her and survive. Like seriously, she's been alive for most since she's one of the next generation. So she's of elders. So she's been alive almost as long as the elders. So she's been alive for a really, really long time. And she's went up against so many things, so many creatures, and she's defeated them all, even the more I lost my train of thought. Anyways, yes. Even the ones that are powerful as well and that she could not defeat, they still couldn't defeat her either. And very few people that went up against her survived. And she's fierce and strong, and I love it. And then there's Joan, who I also fell in love with in this book. She is strong, and she is fierce, and she's good. She was trained by Scatty herself. And then there's Perenelle, who hasn't gotten the biggest of the storylines yet since she was kidnapped most of the first 2 books, but I think that's going to change the 3rd book because it's called The Sorceress, and every time they mention Sorceress, they're talking about Perenelle, because a lot of people call her Sorceress. At least a lot of her enemies. They're always like, they're like, what are you talking about, Sorceress? Or what is the meaning of this, Sorceress? Like, literally, I think they hardly ever actually call her Perenelle. They call her Sorceress. But yeah, so I hope we get more into her because I really like her character. She's fierce and she's powerful, and yeah. And then Sophie is being trained by these 3 people who are the fiercest in the world. So yeah, she's becoming pretty fierce herself, and I'm here for it. So yay, that's fun. So I love this series, and I can't wait to read more, and I hope I can finish it by the end of February, but we shall see. So yeah, if you're a fan of Harry Potter and you want to learn more about Nicholas Flamel, the Sorcerer's Stone is even mentioned a few times, and yeah, definitely give this a check. Hey, you can see my Harry Potter poster. One of them, I have 3 posters of Harry Potter. And then I have the Harry Potter wall decals. And then I have 3 Harry Potter dolls. And then a Harry Potter Lego book my dad gave me. I don't know why, but I have it. I have a Harry Potter pop-up book. Then I have 3 little plaques that have little Harry Potter sayings or things that only the fandom will understand. Like one says 9 3/4, one says Wizards Welcome, and then I forgot what the third one says. But I have like a little action figure of Neville, a little action figure of Harry, a little action figure of Hedwig. What else do I have? I have a wand. Actually, I think I have 2 Harry action figures. Yeah. And then I have 3 Harry Potter dolls. Okay, I didn't buy any of those. I love Harry, but he's not my favorite character. With all the Harry I have, it looks like he's my favorite character. But they were all given to me because they know I love Harry Potter. But I think only a few. I don't know I actually know who my favorite characters are, but I love Neville, so I bought Neville, and I bought Hedwig. But the Hedwig I bought was like in this little mystery box at Barnes & Noble, so I had no idea who I was going to get. All I knew I was going to get a creature from Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts. I didn't know. I think it was just Harry Potter. I don't know. But I didn't know who I was going to get. I ended up with Hedwig. I kind of wanted Dobby, but I like Hedwig too, so that's good. What else do I have? I have a lot of Harry Potter. And I have so much Harry Potter jewelry that seriously I have one whole drawer in my jewelry box just for Harry Potter jewelry. Bracelets, necklaces. I even have a ring. I don't usually wear rings, but I have this one because it's the Marvolo Gaunt ring. I think that's everything. No, it can't be everything. I have more. I know I do. I just can't think of them now. Oh, I have Harry Potter board game. Yeah, see, I knew there was more. Plus, I have the books. I don't own the movies, but the movies are on Peacock now, so I don't have to buy them because I was going to buy them soon. And I have 3 Harry Potter... 3 Harry Potter shirts and a Harry Potter dress. I keep hearing noise. Someone there? Oh no, maybe I'm going crazy. My ears are hurting. I've been wearing this a lot because of the live reading sprints, and then now this because I wasn't going to make this video today, but I knew that I wanted it done. And why did I get to a conversation about Harry Potter? We're not talking about Harry Potter. Well, we kind of were, but that's besides the point. I can turn any conversation to Harry Potter, just like I can turn any conversation to Secrets. You don't know how many times, if you've seen a lot of my videos, if you've been subscribed to me for a while, you could see I will be talking about one thing, and then somehow I end up getting into a conversation about Seekers, because there was something that reminds me of Seekers, so I end up mentioning a character or a storyline or something, and then I talk about one thing that's nothing to do with Seekers. And somehow I have the ability, I possess the magical ability of putting Seekers into the conversation. I don't know how I do it, but Seekers is like always on my mind, even if it's just at the back of my mind because I have other things at the front. Seekers is always somewhere in here and in here because Seekers owns my heart. I'm not obsessed. I do not have a problem. Okay, yes I do. But I love this problem, okay? As you could tell, because my channel's named after Seekers. Secret Books. I thought it was clever. So if you ever wonder why that's my name for the new subscribers, if you wonder why my YouTube name is Secret Books, it's because of my favorite book series, Seekers. So Secret Books. I just thought it was clever. I don't know. I'm gonna go rock away now because I don't know. Okay, so that's the end of this video. This turned out a lot longer than I wanted because I kept going off topic as per usual. I'm just so chaotic here, and then we got into Harry Potter and the Seekers, and I don't know how. I own every Seekers book, even the manga, even though I'm not a fan of manga, but a Seekers, so I couldn't help myself. And then I even since there's I end up even drawing some secrets. I'm not big into drawing, but I had to draw these secret bears. I just had to. Maybe I'll show you them later. They're hung up in my library now, and I'm gonna plan on drawing more secret related things. So yeah, so you can please like and subscribe and comment down below if you like the series, if you like Harry Potter, if you like secrets, and I will want to talk about that I can't speak. You can follow me on Twitter, Bookstagram, and Goodreads as Secret Books, and I'll talk to you guys later.